JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 25th of January 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, and the usual stuff basically. But yeah, before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now then, a quick update on what's happening here with the German index, and the DAX is selling off today. So, so this is what I was talking about this morning, guys, that in a way, for me to consider slightly lower areas, I needed to see a drop below that 13,795 territory. And, well, we got that exactly. And as you can see, a further move lower has happened. And it tested one of my targets. One of my next targets was the 13,672 territory right here, and it even overshot it as well. So, and that level, by the way, is the low of the 15th of January. So now the big question here is, first of all, will we stay below the 13,795 territory right here? If we do, and given that the price currently is very close to this hurdle right here, this 13,672 mark, now that's where I'm going to be very interested, because I want to see if this, if the price will stay below this hurdle today as well. If it does, well, I mean, it's not really looking good here for this index, and we could see further declines where we potentially could test the current lowest point of January near the 13,566 territory. That's my next target. It will be quite interesting to see if we can reach that. For now, I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to keep an eye on this barrier right here, this 13,795. If we see the index staying below it today, it will also stay below the 21-day EMA, and well, then of course it increases the chances for a further move lower. Now jumping into NASDAQ 100. So looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the NASDAQ 100 is kind of trading not far from that 13,500 level. So it's above Friday's close here. It already created a new all-time high, because the previous all-time high was here near the 13,434 mark. Now we'll have a nice opening gap here to the upside, and yeah, like I said, let's see how far we can travel higher. But to be honest, looking at the European equity markets today, those are in the red, and let's see if those are going to pull the US equities to the downside as well. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's see how this is going to play out. And don't get me wrong, I mean, looking at the monthly chart here on NASDAQ 100, I mean, you can see that we already had another good rally here to the upside. So maybe a bit of a corrective move to the downside could be possible. However, again, still no clear indication of a potential correction. So yep, let's see how that's going to play out. And in a way, one way that you could keep an eye on this one is, for example, if today we end up closing below this the high of last week, which is around the 13,434 mark. Now this is maybe a small hint, this could be a small hint for a possible kind of decline here, a correction towards this upside support line drawn from the low the 10th of November. So keep that in mind, and let's see how this is going to play out today. Now silver, haven't looked at the silver for quite a while, but basically last time when I picked up on this one, I said said that keep your eyes on this 25.89 level. So we need that daily candle staying above this area in order to kind of aim for some higher levels. But as you can see, last week we only had a few little kind of overshoots here, but neither of the daily candles managed to remain above this hurdle. So still sticking to that idea. If we do see that daily candle remaining above the 25.89 zone, then my next target is the 26.60 zone, and even we could go further. But again, let's not rush into anything yet. First, let's keep an eye on this 25.89 level, and that's in regards to the upside. In regards to the downside, now this is what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. This low here, the low of the 20th of January, which also marks the low of the 22nd of January, and that's roughly around that 25 mark. So maybe just fractionally above it, but roughly around that psychological 25 zone. So a nice good drop below the 25 level could in a way open the door towards slightly lower areas. Now jumping into Bitcoin Cash, something that I haven't looked at for quite a while, but if you have seen my video this morning, my Traders Espresso, I've covered Bitcoin. So here we have a kind of similar situation. So after the crypto managed to break this short-term upside support line drawn from the low the 24th of December, the crypto ended up pushing lower and remained kind of below that 21-day EMA. However, today we're seeing a slight push higher, although probably the bulls are now kind of getting very excited here. I would suggest not to be very excited, because we are now getting closer to this downside line, because let's not forget that we are still trading below this little short-term downside resistance line drawn from the high of the 10th of January. So even if we see this candle, for example, staying above the 21-day EMA, be wary of this downside line, and because in a way, if it remains intact, another round of selling here could be possible. So something for you to keep in mind, guys. If you want to get a little bit more excited with the upside, probably you could start looking at some higher levels on a break of this downside line and push above the 518 territory, somewhere around here, and then yep, maybe we could go for some slightly higher levels. But at the moment, the only upside I will consider is a potential correction. Now jumping into USDJPY, this one is quite an interesting one. So previously I talked about this downside line, and I'm going to still continue talking about it, because so far it's just doing his job. It's just acting as a fantastic area of resistance, this downside line drawn from the high of the 24th of March. And yep, if we finally get a break through that this downside line, then of course this increases the chances for a possible further move north. However, as I mentioned before, ideally for me, I would prefer to see a push above this 104.40 level marked, which currently marks the highest point of January. So, long story short, of course, keep your eyes on the USDJPY this week, on the Japanese yen in general, because I mean we do have some data coming out from Japan on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly double check that, guys. Yes, so on this Friday, we have a bunch of data like the Tokyo CPI numbers, unemployment rate, BOG summary of opinions, so industrial production. So basically, a huge amount of data from Japan, which can kind of could affect the Japanese yen. So again, let's see how this is going to play out. Of course, anything can happen during the week as well before that, and let's keep an eye on this one. But if we see a break of this downside line and a push above this 104.40 level, now that's where we'll go for some higher levels. If the The pair drops back down here, back below the 103.65 territory right here. Then, of course, it increases the chances for a further decline. Then I'll aim for that 103.05 territory, a break of which could, of course, clear the path towards the current lowest point of January near the 102.59 zone. But at the moment, guys, it's a bit of a tricky one, so let's see how this is going to play out. For now, I'm gonna just enjoy observing this one, and I'm gonna wait for a much more clear, or should I say clearer kind of view here, and a more clear signal. Now, GBPNZD. GBPNZD is kind of pushing to the downside, so this downside line is working, or I should say had worked out perfectly, so it kind of continued to provide resistance, although last week we saw a bit of an overshoot here, but as you can see, the daily candle failed to stay above this downside line, and instead it reversed back down. Now what I'm going to be saying here is that and I'll repeat what I said previously, that this is the idea that I'm going to keep an eye on, because if this 21-day EMA continues to provide support, then all eyes again are on the downside line. So and let me just quickly mark this one here. So, and then of course this downside line again, that's all eyes are going to be on that one, and together with the 1.9115 territory roughly around here, which as you can see kind of continues to act as a good area of resistance. So a lot to consider here, but if this pair starts pushing further below the this 21-day EMA, then all eyes are going to be on this 1.8848 territory, which also previously acted as a good area of support. We'll see if it does the same trick again. If it doesn't, then yep, further declines here could be possible. But let's get to that point first. For now, what I'm keeping an eye on is, like I said, this 21-day EMA. And finally, EURUSD. So this one is drifting to the downside, and this is exactly what I was talking about this morning, guys. That although it seemed like that the pair has a good chance to move higher, that's why I said that I would prefer to wait maybe for a push above the 1.2210 zone in order to aim for some higher levels. But as you can see, the pair reversed to the downside, and yep, for now basically I'm just gonna keep an eye on this 21-day EMA, and I'm gonna keep an eye on this little hurdle right here, this 1.2130 mark. A nice good drop below that could open the door towards this other key support zone near the 1.2059. And I've also mentioned this one. That's kind of the breakout level for me to kind of get a little bit more comfortable with lower areas. So if we see a drop below the 1.2130, yes, I'll aim for slightly lower areas, but this is a very good support zone here near this 1.2059. But if that gets broken, now this is where it could become even more interesting for more sellers. For now, we're stuck here. We're oscillating around the 21-day EMA, so it's kind of a no-wins game. That's why wait, guys, until we see a better signal here. So as I said, for the upside, I'm waiting for this 1.2210 zone, and for the downside, I will start looking at some lower areas on a break of this 1.2130, but I'll get a little bit more comfortable with further declines on a break below the 1.2059. So guys, that was a quick session from me here. I hope you found it useful. If you want to catch my video tomorrow morning, as always, my Trader's Espresso, that's 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, guys, or if you're still trading, of course. But in general, guys, have a nice evening. And yeah, come back fresh tomorrow, and join my video tomorrow, as always, at 7 o'clock GMT time. For now, bye-bye.